We're gonna.
Yeah. Okay, so Rocky and I are both gonna talk.
Okay. I'll put it on this
Go
side.
ahead and
That
put
way
it
we
on
can
him.
both.
Yeah.
Would you don't mind, sir? If we came over this way a little bit. Could you stick this in your pocket?
Yeah, I'll just stick it in my pocket.
Thank
Don't
you.
worry.
Yeah, I think we're going to get this guy first, Mark.
So
I'm gonna talk first, but I'll stand.
No, she'll stand close.
it's your world. Whatever you.
Okay. Well, if they're both
Talking, we got one more.
All right, if you're watching this this live feed, we're here at City Hall this afternoon, where we're going to be hearing from the Office of Emergency Management and also a spokesperson with the City of Dallas, and they're going to shed some light on what happened last night with the tornado sirens that went off for quite a while, and you probably had a hard time getting some sleep. So certainly a lot of questions, and hopefully we'll get some answers to those questions for you here momentarily.
Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Everyone good? All right, guys, thanks for being here today. We do want to let everyone know what we have learned since last night. Woke up a lot of people. All 156 sirens in the city were activated last night. It does appear at this time that it was a hack, and we do believe that this came from the Dallas area. We are extremely grateful to Fire Dispatch and for the Office of Emergency Management. These guys came in the middle of the night and did everything they could to get every single siren off by 1:20 a.m. So within an hour and a half we turned off the entire system. So here with me I have the Director of the Office of Emergency Management, Rocky Vaz, to talk a little bit about what we know. Now, we can't talk a whole lot about the hack itself because obviously we don't want this to happen again, but Rocky, talk about the safeguards and what happened.
Okay, thank you. So about 11:42 last night, all 156 sirens were activated. Office of Emergency Management, we came in, went through the protocols and trying to shut the system down. During that process, we quickly realized that there was something wrong beyond what we were able to manage remotely or even coming into the EOC. Ultimately, we made the call to unplug the radio systems and the repeater and pretty much turn our siren system completely off so we could stop sounding the sirens. I believe the sirens went through about 15 cycles of a 90-second siren activation. At finally around 1:20, we were able to shut the system down. Since that time, we have had extensive discussions with our engineers, our radio shop, to get to the bottom of what happened. We have eliminated that any of our control systems or our remote logins were not involved in this activation, and we have now pinpointed it to one area where we think they were able to get into our system and activate all the sirens and put that into a mode where they sent in signals for it to be activated over 60 times. So by connecting the system, we were able to stop that. At this point, we are looking at various options on how to bring the system up safely and also safeguard it from happening again. We will start that process probably in another 30 to 45 minutes, and we are hoping by the end of tomorrow we'll have the system up and running where we will be able to activate it safely to inform the public of any real emergencies happening. In the meantime, we have access to many other mass notification systems like our reverse 911, our social media, our friends in the media. We are also talking to FEMA to use their wireless alert system that has very stringent protocols. We are working with them to help us relax some of those procedures where we are able to activate it if we have a real emergency. What that does is that sends messages to every single cell phone in the area, very similar to the Amber Alerts that you get, so that it's not an opt-in system. Everybody will get that message. So we're working through that process, and we want to thank the citizens. First of all, we apologize for all the sirens that were going off last night. We did our very best. We shut it down as quickly as we could, taking into consideration all the precautions and the protocols we had to take to make sure that we were not compromising our 156 siren system, that we would be able to quickly reactivate it after figuring out what went wrong. With that, we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Can you tell us what I would imagine that there's a system in place to prevent hacks. Can you give us a sense of exactly what that is? And
at this point, I cannot give you any details on the hack, who did it, how they did it, how they got into the system. That just gets information out to other people who are wanting to or willing to try and duplicate that process. So at this point, we can't talk, but we can tell you with a good deal of confidence that this was somebody outside of our system that got into there and activated our sirens.
Has this been a concern?
Not until now. Talking to all the experts in the siren industry in the field, this is a very, very rare event where all 156 sirens have been activated. There have been instances where they can activate 1 or 2 sirens, but in this event, they were able to get into a portion of our system that was talking to all our sirens throughout the city, and we're able to do that.
So right now, police are investigating this?
No, police are not. We have contacted the FCC, and they're working with us in trying to identify where this hack came from and how they did that. We are sharing all the information, all our logs in our system to them so they can start working through that process.
I know earlier, a few months ago, someone hacked into all of the text dot signs. Just how concerning is this for the city of Dallas, knowing that someone put it into the system?
Now that it has happened, it's very concerning to us. And again, like I said, throughout the industry and throughout the history of Dallas having the siren systems, we have not had this issue. And it's once we have more details, we'll be able to explain how they were able to do that, which is a very remote possibility when you look at the whole picture, but it happened. And we are working on preventing that happening again.
So have you caught the person responsible yet?
Pardon me?
Have you caught the person responsible yet?
No, we don't know. I mean, this is like finding a needle in a haystack, pretty much. So it's going to be a very long process if we do find out who actually did it. But we know how they did it, so we can stop that from happening again. Will we know who did it? I don't know.
Any charges for that person?
I don't know. We haven't talked to police or anybody on that and how all that works. But our main concern right now and our responsibility to the citizen, to the system, is to have that up and running so we can activate it if we have a real emergency.
And they're only supposed to be activated in the case of severe weather, correct?
Correct. Just severe weather. We have a criteria, and you're welcome to go to OEM website, DallasEmergencyManagement.com, and there's a protocol on how and when we activate the sirens, and that is a region-wide protocol. So if something comes from the south, you'll first start hearing Grand Prairie activating, and then it'll come up to us, and we'll activate. So everybody follows the same protocol, so there's no lapse in between. Since our sirens overlap city limits, we all follow the same protocol. It's high tornado warnings, high winds over 70 miles an hour, an inch hail, or it could be for any other emergency reasons that either our office or the management or elected officials deem that important enough to warn the public.
And you manually had to shut 156 down? Did you manually have to?
No, we did not have to manually shut every system down. We had to shut some major components that control the system. We had to shut it down.
There was a delay.
Next week?
Pardon me?
Is the system going to be ready next week?
We are hoping that the system will be up and running by tomorrow, no later than Monday afternoon.
And there was also a little bit of a delay, I believe, between when the sirens started sounding and there was word that it was a malfunction or it wasn't a malfunction. Can you give us a sense of what
The first siren started going out at 11:42 a.m. I believe, and we all started getting notifications, and immediately we started the protocol of trying. Once we determined that there was no threat, there was no weather issues or any other threat to the city, we figured out that there was something wrong with the system. It was activated not by any of the OEM staff or any city officials. So we started the process of trying to deactivate the system remotely. We have a 24-hour duty officer. They tried it on his iPhone, which we have the capability of activating or deactivating through an app on our iPhones, on our desktops. We tried all those protocols, and as we were driving into the EOC, we finally got there about, the first person got there about 12:07. So we were there very quickly, and then when we realized that it was not a real situation, we started tweeting out that it was a malfunction. At that time, that's all we knew, and we were trying to shut down and rectify that issue. So the time gap was, I mean, again, 15 minutes is a long time, but, when we look at what we had to do, how we had to do it, again, we're sorry that it took us that long, but that's how long we took to make sure that our system was not compromised and we could run the system again if needed.
We're hearing reports that people are having a hard time getting through 911 last night. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so.
Okay, so as far as 911 goes, we did have a surge in calls, and from 11:30 to about 3 a.m., we had around 4,400 calls come into the 911 call center. So just to give you a frame of reference, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., we get about half that. And from 12 a.m. to about 12:15 a.m., in just that short window, we had about 800 calls come through, with the longest wait time being about 6 minutes. And what we really need our citizens to understand is that when we raise the system back up to reactivate it and to get everything back in gear, potentially sirens could go off again. And we ask that people not call 911, do not call 311 to talk to us about the sirens, because we are very aware of the situation. That just backs up our lines, and we want to make sure that those with actual emergencies are able to get through. So we ask for your patience right now as we work on getting through this, reactivating the system, and making sure this is back in service by the time we have another weather situation.
And I just want to add that anything that we do, testing and reactivating, all that will be done during daylight hours. We will not do it after sunset. So if you hear the sirens after sunset or something like that, then we'll be looking at that. Hopefully it doesn't go off, but our testing will be done during daylight hours.
Any possible links to terrorism, or have you been in contact with any federal agencies about this?
At this point, we have only talked to the FCC. We have not talked to any other federal agencies.
And my last question for you is, you said that this is rare. Can you think of a time that a city's alert system has been hacked, whether it's...
I heard from one of our previous emergency managers back in 1990s, and he said that one time we had our sirens go off, but it was not system-wide. It was isolated, one or two sirens where they were able to go in and activate that. And I got to go do some research on how that was done, if this instance kind of followed the same pattern as the last one, but I don't know. But to answer your question, yes, it's happened in the early 90s or late 80s. Where it was not a system-wide, but it was individual sirens that were set off maliciously.
And your job is to keep people safe. It's what you do day in and day out, and you prepare for any eventuality to keep all of us safe, and you rely on that system. So for someone to do this, do you take this personally? What is your response to this?
Absolutely. I mean, our job is to keep the citizens safe, and we take our outdoor warning siren system, which is just one tool in letting people know of any potential danger that is coming their way, whether it be weather-related or anything else. Again, I want to stress that that is just one tool. We have several other tools to alert the public and make sure that they get the information through you guys, through our social media, through our websites, through our reverse 911 system. So all those tools can be deployed This tool failed. It failed in the middle of the night and kept a lot of people awake for an hour and a half. And so we are working extremely hard to make sure that never happens. As far as does it bother me? Yes. I mean, we have been, since 11:42 when the first sirens went off, we have been working around the clock trying to figure out and trying to make sure that this never happens again. And we have every confidence that we are able to fix it where it cannot be hacked.
There are reports of other cities' sirens going off. Were you able to verify those, or is it connected at all?
We called every city last night and followed up again this morning. No other city sirens went off. It was just City of Dallas. What happened, our neighboring cities like Mesquite and Garland, Grand Prairie, it was a quiet night and the wind was blowing, and so the sound went off, and their emergency managers thought that their siren system were going off, and they were tweeting about it. When they went back and looked at their logs, none of the systems were activated. It was just Dallas siren system.
I wanted to clarify, you said that the hacker set it up to go off 60 times, so y'all had stopped it before, but it would have just kept on going 15-second intervals for 60 times if it would have...
If we had not disconnected the system, it would have gone on for a much, much longer time.
Can I just get your first and last name and spelling and your title, please?
Rocky, R-O-C-K-Y, last name Vaz, V-A-Z, Director of Emergency Management for the City of Dallas.
How much of a problem did this cause for 911? Can you talk about the challenges associated with that?
I think it's fair to say that the T-Mobile 911 issue that we've had here over the past couple of months really helped make sure that we were prepared for something like this. So we feel that we were prepared in the 911 call center. We had a backup of up to 6 minutes, and considering we had about 800 people calling in about a 15-minute span, we think that our call takers did a fantastic job. And so that part of the equation, as far as making sure our call center is fully prepared and making sure that we have enough call takers, that's still a go. We're still looking for call takers, and that's very much a big part of this. But we are grateful to Dallas residents for being patient with us last night, and we encourage you again that if you hear those sirens, please do not call 911 or 311 this weekend.
What's your target time? You said it was 6 minutes backed up. What's the target?
Our target time is to answer 90% of calls within 10 seconds. That's our target. And so we'll find out by Monday how far we were from that. But overall, our call takers did the best that they could.
How long was the call system backlogged, I guess?
The bulk of it was from about 11:40, close to midnight, till about 3 a.m.
And it maxed out at 6 minutes?
Right. So the longest time anyone... I'll wait. The longest amount of time that anyone was on hold for 911 was about 6 minutes. That was the longest time.
Were they right to make those calls last night, or was there something else they should have done?
We understand that people were concerned. We had people who were asking if we were being attacked, because of what's going on overseas. So we completely understand that people were concerned. What we're saying now is we know what happened. And now that we know what happened and we're trying to get our system back up, there's a good chance that you might hear those sirens go off again this weekend. So just bear with us as we try to get everything back on track.
Can you just clarify one more time how long the issue lasted from start to finish and how long it took you to respond and fix everything?
So the sirens went off at 11:42, and we started working through the whole process. At 1:17 a.m., we were able to completely disconnect the system, and that's when the siren stopped. All right.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we've just been listening to the Office of Emergency Management, also a spokesperson with the City of Dallas. We'll have more on this for you coming up a little bit later on today on Channel 8, and look for us online, WFAA.com.